welcome to Something to Talk About, a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday activity here at the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. And we are grateful for the sponsorship of this Zoom and sometimes in-person program. We are sponsored by Fieldstone Memory Care, Bainbridge Island. Fieldstone is offering innovative and compassionate care on Rolling Bay, and you can visit their beautifully appointed apartments by calling 360-689-4314. They've done a beautiful job up there. It's worth taking a look. Today, we're going to be talking about a new, well, not so new, actually, it's been around for a while, but newly relaunched blog, web presence, email presence called The Island Wanderer. And Margaret Millmore founded it, and Kevin Dwyer has joined her recently, and both of them are with us today to talk about the project. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty easy to find. Search for The Island Wanderer or go to theislandwanderer.com, and you'll see your newly relaunched site. It looks great, Margaret.
Thank you. We owe a lot of that to Abel Smith of Abel Smith Web Design. He was incredibly patient with Kevin and I. Being that we are very disadvantaged in that field. And so he was really wonderful taking our ideas and putting them to work and integrating them. Just to give you an example, one of our first design ideas was on a napkin that Kevin drew.
Right.
But he did a wonderful job, and we really appreciate all his assistance in it. And I think, as you said, I think it turned out beautifully.
So one of the goals, it seems to me, is to make it a lot easier to find articles and to search. There's a lot more categorization. Why don't you talk a little bit, either one of you or both of you, about what what your goal is, and then we can talk about the way that the website and your email and all that goes together to make that possible.
Well, I think from a goal perspective, when I originally started the blog, I really concentrated on a wide variety of things, from talking about parks, talking about people, doing features on artists and events and things like that. When Kevin came along in January of 2021, is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, a little over a year ago.
Yeah, he really changed the dynamic. He's brought, of course, being a business journalist for majority of his career, he's brought a really fantastic perspective of the business community, but he also brings in a lot of articles that are what we're now categorizing as news you can use, such as things that are happening with the city, things that have, COVID events, things like that. And that's really broadened our horizons. And we, in addition to those articles, Kevin has done experiential pieces on off-island adventures, which I'm very jealous of because he's had quite a few more than me recently. But that is I think that's a wonderful way to share other things that are happening, not just here on the island, but letting people know, hey, there's things you can do close to home or further from home, whatever your curiosity takes you. And I think it's just really broadened everything that we're doing as far as, being able to keep the community up to date on just Bainbridge Island things that are happening.
Yeah, I do think that one of the things I have followed you for a while, and one of the things I remember was that you would cover some of the aspects of community life that we might not know about, either because we just moved here or because there are so many things that go on Bainbridge that you don't know about, and it's great to have another way to find out about them. The weekly papers and the Kitsap Sun have both, as all journalism have had shifts and changes in ownership and sort of staffing challenges. And the old Review, which used to be going to every household on the island, is no more. I mean, it's just not that kind of a thing anymore. And so in many ways, your reporting on some of those organizations filled a gap that the local paper couldn't really do justice to on an ongoing basis. But then, Kevin, you started to cover some things like Oh, I don't know, like the ferries when it's like, what's going on with the ferry system, folks?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you picked some of those stories that you might have started to add to the mix.
Well, you're absolutely right. You're talking. Margaret mentioned that we're trying to broaden it a little bit. We're not going to be. We're not going to, just say, just for instance, we really don't want to be a publication of record on like, hey, what is the city council doing? Spend 3 hours at a city council meeting and then regurgitate a story or something like that. We're kind of picking and choosing and trying to be selective about things that we think are broad enough for people to maybe have an interest level in. For instance, the other day I did a little piece on the city finally deciding, as a lot of you know, finally deciding that they're going to move ahead with the new police station. And so I did a piece on that, and apparently that got some pretty good hits. So, but those are the kinds of things, just like that's a broad brush piece in the sense that it affects everybody at some level, mostly in your pocketbook, because they're going to spend $20 million on this project. So, and that's been ongoing. So we try to put that a little bit in perspective. Some of the other stuff is pick and choose. Like, you were a journalist, Reed, you know how some of this stuff works is, you want to have it, you want to come at it from a little bit of a point of view. What is it we can describe, or what angle can we take that is interesting, maybe a little bit provocative, but we don't want to get too far on the edge of that. But so those are the kinds of things. Like, for example, the other day, the Chili Hilly happened. I wasn't sure if I was going to do anything about it. And I told Margaret that, and then I went out and rode some of it with some of my riding buddies and decided to do something on it. So that, it's just, again, trying to write about something that we think that maybe we enjoy, but we also think our audience would enjoy. So that's
and some of those are like, I could think that we have been arguing about that police station for years. So
yeah. And that could be some follow-up too, with that, because it's just, I don't know how many places they looked at over the years, and then how much, they went to remember a couple of years back, it went to a vote, it was turned down dramatically. And then
and I think, one of the things is we could, that was as much a vote against the idea of buying the property that was adjacent to City Hall as it might have been about the police station as an idea.
Yes. Yeah.
But in other words, it's something that is worth covering because that it's sort of a perennial topic of conversation here.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that we are trying to do for Bainbridge Islanders as a community, we have, as you said, there's a lot going on here. And if you're not signed up to receive a newsletter from everyone, you may not know about it. And so one of the things we really try to help support are the museums, events that the chamber might be doing, or important information that the chamber might be imparting to the community. But there's certain sectors, there's business people follow the chamber newsletter, members of the senior center follow your, it's so we're able to get those newsletters in and contact them and say, hey, we want to feature this information for you. And of course, they've all been really supportive of the blog. And we can't feature everything because there's a million things happening every day on this island, but we do try to feature bigger events and, be as supportive of all those groups as possible and give Islanders sort of a central place to find that information.
So I know that one of the issues, we've had a couple of other blogs in the past, some more newsy than others, and they've tried to make a go of it. And I think one of the biggest challenges is that workload, is the idea that it never, journalism or reporting, or it's like, what did you post in the last hour? A little bit. So how are you guys making sure, I guess you're picking and choosing, like you said, Are you thinking that you're trying to put out, say, 3 stories a week or something?
I think we're focusing a little bit, a little higher volume. We don't want to bombard anybody, which is another feature that the new relaunch site allows, is that you can subscribe to an email every time we post, or a weekly blast of everything we posted. So you have that option, which I think is great because, you know, some folks aren't going to want to get it every day or just don't even check their email every day. So this is a wonderful option, I think, for people who just want to see what's happening through, you know, once a week versus every day. But I think our volume is definitely ticking up. We're probably looking at 5 to 7. We try not to post more than once a day. And again, we're going to have to see how feedback goes as we tick up the volume and perhaps maybe adjust at that point. But again, having that option to just get an email every time versus, you know, a weekly blast, I think is great for our viewers. Another reason for the revamping of the blog was to get those side columns in that list the community resources, such as the Senior Center, the Chamber of Commerce, the museums, the Downtown Association, Visit Bainbridge. And that way people can get those links right away. They don't have to go hunting around for them. It's one-stop shopping for everything Bainbridge Island. And that includes people that are, you know, maybe coming to visit Bainbridge Island. It gives them a place to find all of that very easily. And again, you know, categories, more specific categories for the articles that we've written in the past and will be writing in the future.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, here it is. Thanks, Reed.
There it is.
Yeah. So that's, if you haven't seen it, guys, it's kind of what it's, if you went on our website, that's what you'll see. And the idea, what Margaret was talking about is those, see those big blue, you know, categories there. So what we've tried to do, and Margaret's done a great job, is take a lot of the articles that are in those particular categories. You can go back, I don't know, for almost a year and a half and see a lot of that stuff. And so like if you had, and you can search our site, if you had a favorite article, say on the Bainbridge Island Art Museum or something like that, you could punch it in there, and I'm not sure it's going to come out Art Museum, but try it. Oh yeah,
there you go.
There's stuff, yeah. So I mean, yeah.
And if you go down to the bottom of that, of any of the pages, post pages or our homepage, you'll find the links to all the various organizations on the island that give direct links so that you can just snap on over there and have a look. Is it gonna get there? It's a long page.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot. And you might have noticed too that one of the things we've done with the website is
I guess those links are on the homepage. Sorry about that.
Yeah, create opportunities for people to advertise, like you guys. And right now we've got some relationships with various organizations that you know, we're hoping that eventually we'll turn those into paid advertisers. But all you guys are right now are friends of ours and are participating. We really appreciate that. So. But yeah, we're trying to monetize this. We're not here to make, you know, we're fortunately both in a situation where we don't necessarily need this site to survive. You know, it's more of
a labor of love.
A labor of love. Thank you. Yeah.
But there are expenses involved, and so this really the monetization is really just to kind of keep us even.
Yeah, we'd like to pay for our expenses and overhead, and you know, maybe make a few bucks so we can go have coffee and on ourselves.
There you go.
Yeah. Or maybe yeah, whatever.
So you have some categories here, which is another way to search the site, right?
Right.
Yes.
So for example, if I wanted to just look at lifestyle articles that we were talking about at the beginning, this would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
a lot of our articles do cross categories, so I do try to make sure of that, because somebody might think, okay, lifestyle, but then they might think events, and it might not always match.
Right.
So I've categorized some things in double format, but I think it just gives you a really good way of searching for things, and it also cleans it up a little bit, because before there weren't any categories at all. So you would, if you were looking for a particular topic, you would have to search it individually.
Yeah.
So if people have ideas about things that they think might fit into your editorial calendar, is there a good email or way to pitch them to you?
Absolutely. They can contact us through the contact button up there on the right-hand corner of the blog, or they can email us directly. And but we've actually had quite a few people who have contacted us and say, hey, would you mind talking about us? And we love that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, because as I said, there's a lot going on and we can't always catch it. And, we've had some wonderful leads from people on great articles that we've written just because they got in touch and asked us to. And so we're always happy to do that. Obviously, as you know, we veer away from political leaning articles or things that could be biased in any shape or form. But, if it's an event, if it's an amazing person on the island, I did an article back in 2019 on John Fawcett, and what a blast learning about everything, so we enjoy doing that. And anytime somebody's got a lead, by all means, let us know.
Great.
There's a lot of interesting people. Yeah. So absolutely. Just to pick up on it, and we're open to pretty much any ideas. Again, we don't see ourselves as, covering, like I say, City Hall on a regular basis, city council meetings, but we'll cherry pick some of that stuff. We're not going to do the cop shop, in other words, if you hear some siren going down there, you're not going to go to our blog and find out that, oh, there was a fire at,
Exactly.
whatever.
No, that's what Bainbridge Islanders on Facebook is for.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's that, what is it, next door neighbors and stuff like that.
Yes, next door.
Nextdoor.com.
Yeah, we're
So
not
it
going to
sounds
be the place where I need a plumber. Who should I go
Right.
to? It's not going to be us. But
Unless the plumber wants to buy an ad.
yeah,
There you
now,
go.
if the plumber wants to buy an
Exactly.
ad, we're all over that.
You beat me to the punch on that one, Reed. I was going to say
Sorry.
the same thing.
So it sounds like you imported a lot of the work that you had already done, Margaret, into this blog, which is amazing. That's a big job in itself.
It did take a few days, especially because I was working in the staging site at the time and I hadn't quite learned it 100%. So it was a bit of a learning experience, but we did manage to port all of the articles that were written since the blog started. So you can go back to the very beginning if you're so inclined. Sorry, lost my train of thought there.
Well, that's okay. That means that if you are curious about the inner workings of John Fawcett, icon at the library,
I'm not sure I'd be interested in the inner workings.
Okay, maybe not the best turn of phrase there.
No, I know John's a good guy, but if you go down to the bottom of the site, can you
Of the homepage there?
Homepage, sorry. Go all the way down. You'll see. We have this little temperature thing here. So you know what the temperature here is on Bainbridge Island, and then there's pictures, and we'll be adding to these pictures as we go along.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So there's just photos of Bainbridge, and most of them are ones we've taken or ones we've had, relationships. Relationships with photographers and stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah. That's
all right.
nice.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. So you'll have to keep your eye out on Bainbridge Islanders to see if there are any great photos we don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Preserve them.
Right.
So if anyone is on the call, if either of you want to if anybody has any other questions, or if there's things that I didn't touch on, pipe up.
I thought Sheila and Tom would have all kinds of questions.
No, Sheila's ready to sit down and read the whole blog, though. Tom is muted, so until he figures out how to.
I think he's unmuted now. Nope, he's still muted.
I'm not real good at this.
Yeah, well, Kevin isn't real good at this either, so it's okay.
I thought what I thought was being unmuted was putting the picture up. They're right next to each other, so I'm just trying to get acquainted with that stuff.
All right.
But anyway, I think I think you got a great idea, and I'm really looking forward to, looking at it and going back and looking at some of the past ones.
There are some other resources, like I know that Arts and Humanities puts out Currents, which is much more related to kind of a calendar. This is a more context-oriented community enterprise, and I applaud you guys for putting the work in to put it together.
I just wanted to say I applaud you guys. Thank you very much for carrying on and continuing and relaunching and all of that kind of stuff. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but I'm fascinated by what you guys are doing.
Oh,
Thank you, Sheila.
thank you, Sheila.
Margaret, thank you so much for stopping by. Kevin, thank you. And we'll save your place at the reception desk here at the senior center.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think April is, and I'll get back to you, Reed, about doing this hosting once a month or
Whatever. Anyway, it's good to see you both.
Yeah, it's great to
Thank
see
you
you
very
guys.
much, Reed. We really appreciate it. And, we're always happy to support the Senior and Community Center. It's a fantastic organization. And
And you can count me as a loyal reader for sure.
we
Well, I
appreciate that.